Now, I'd like to give you a lesson in anatomy, mine. But before that, I'd like to talk about a stripper's work clothes. Briefly, of course. While some started with gloves, gowns, even tiaras, when it got down to bare facts, a stripper's best friends were 1, her pasties, and 2, her G-string. This is a pasty. Isn't it cute? Looks kind of like a little dunce cap, doesn't it? Only it doesn't go on your head. It gets pasted to the tip of the bosom. And for a girl who is not particularly well endowed, it makes much ado about nothing.
Hello and welcome to Vintage Varieties, and today we're going to be deep diving into the style in the history of one of my favorite performers, Miss Britton. So Sherry was a performer in the 1950s through to the 70s, and she did not like to be classified as a stripper. She actually found a lot of the performances during that time were quite rude and a little bit too risque for her style. And she wanted to bring back the 40s through to the 70s, excuse me, my bad. And she wanted to bring back the heyday of the burlesque theater, where a lot of comedy was actually brought in versus strippers. There were more comedy acts on the stage. And the girls and the stripping acts were a lot more about having a breath of fresh air versus it being quite raunchy. So Sherry always had an air of sophistication to her. She was known for her beautiful long black raven hair that went all the way down pretty much below her butt. And she would wear tiaras and ball gowns to create an air of a princess and aristocracy to her style. And then underneath would be a classic panel skirt, tribute bra, and just very elegant. She would still take her clothes off completely, but it would be done in a way that was more intimate for herself versus it being a show for others. So it's funny to think that she didn't want to be risque because her specific style ends up becoming quite sexy. And it's sexy because it is so intimate for herself. It was very much about being on stage and being in her own world and allowing people to watch. So a bit of a voyeur, like a voyeuristic style of performance. And one of my favorite iconic tableaus of her is that she would always brush her hair on stage. Now, when you think about brushing your hair, we do it every day, and it's a very private moment that we kind of don't think about in our own lives. So you're in front of the bathroom mirror and you just kind of go for it, brush it. But we always take that second to brush it and then look in the mirror and have that little, ooh, yeah, I look good today. So Sherry brought that style of intimacy onto the stage, and she invited others to come into that world with her. So she would come on, of course, as I said, wearing a tiara and a big ball gown, and she would have a hair clip that would keep all of her beautiful raven hair up. Now, I wish I still had my long red hair, but I don't, so I'm going to keep my hair up. But you can practice this if you want. And she had a little clip, wrapped it all up, and she would take that clip out, she would let it all go, and then she would brush it over her shoulder and magically get a hairbrush. It was usually stuck in between her cleavage. And she would brush her hair on stage. And she would just stand and brush her hair. And it would be very quiet, very subtle. And then she would get off the stage and hand it to someone in the front row, usually a gentleman, and invite him to brush her hair for her, which is, gosh, like a very simple act, but it's something that really only partners or someone really intimate with you does. So she would let that person brush her hair. She would then take the brush and very graciously say thank you, and then go back onto the stage. Yeah. So why I love that style of breaking intimacy is it really kind of brings in a form of self-confidence that you can fake. And I tell my students a lot, when you're on stage, it is a dialogue with the audience. So you're taking the time to communicate with the audience and bring them into your world. So a way to do that is, of course, having confidence. We all know that, but we can fake it. So if we want someone to look at something specific, we got to tell them to look at it. So if your hair is your favorite part of your body, or say your hip is your favorite part of your body, you're going to take the time to invite everyone to come and look at it. And that can bring intimacy, that can bring relevance between the audience and the performer as well, and then you have that communication. So it's a way of bringing the boudoir style into performance, but also just breaking down those boundaries to make it more about ourselves. So hair is a beautiful one, but it can literally be anything. I love to just personally go, look at my shoes. I spent a long time bedazzling them. And I do it in my way, which is quite funny and silly and all that. But it is having that conversation with the audience and bringing them into your world. So the other thing about Sherry that was so beautiful, as I said in the beginning, is it was very much an intimate style of dance for herself. She was not a trained dancer. She actually had a very convoluted past when it came to sexual partners and her relationships as well. So a lot of her sexual history affected her style of performance, which is why she made it so personal for herself. And so when we start to talk and break down her dance style, it really is inspired by belly dance. And now she never took belly dance lessons. Pretty much none of them did. But she would watch them, and you're thinking about breaking that stigma and breaking out of the corset or the gown and giving yourself the freedom to move in the midsection. So her feet would pretty much stay underneath her, and she would just do tiny little steps. And you can then start to roll those hips around and play with the midsection. Then we can bring that energy into the center, and you can start to play just with your rib cage. Now you're keeping that really intimate. So you can close your eyes, you can really think about the energy, the breath, what is coming into that. Then we start to bring it up, and she always liked to show off her arms. She had the most beautiful arms. She was tall and lanky. I love it. So she would show off her arms, and it wouldn't be what we call a trace, which is just a very elegant trace. It would be a little stronger. And so you're using the palm of your hand to push up and push up. And then you can keep moving your midsection as you go through it. So that energy is tense, and we're bringing it into the center. Yeah? Then, and this is another one of my favorites, and I love it because it doesn't suit me. So please bear with me while I do it. But she would literally take into herself, and she would bite herself. Yeah, I'm serious. She would bite herself. So you would take that time pulling that energy into the center. You would lift your arms up, and you would breathe into your bicep, and then she would have a full bite in and come out and bring it in. So you can see that's really intimate. It's shocking as well. So I find it ironic that she didn't like sexy, raunchy performance styles, because that is so sexy. It is so sexy to be confident in yourself and to take that time to dive into yourself. Yeah? So we'll do a little choreography just to kind of experiment with these little dance styles that are very iconic to Sherry Britton. So if you have a panel skirt, chuck it on, because it's just nice to have that little bit of a float, but you don't need it to learn this choreography. You can totally pretend to wear one. And what we're going to do is, for the intro, I want you to stand and just say you're welcome. Be there, enter. You're wearing a big ball gown. Maybe even think that you have a tiara on your head. And you're just standing and breathing in and letting the audience look. Then we're going to take a step onto that little lifted leg to do a little hip roll. And then you're going to do the other leg, and a 2, and the other leg, 3, and the last one, 4. Now, as you do that, I want you to really keep your midsection fluid, and you can add little hand circles, 2, and 3, and 4. Then bring your feet together. I like to always have one knee popped. It just helps make me look little curvier. And then I want you to stand, and you're going to do little rib cage shifts. Shift, 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 shift. So it can be your hips as well, but I want you to really put the tension into that rib cage. And your hands can just keep that energy in. You can also feel that I'm kind of putting tension into my shoulders and my neck as well. And that's keeping the tension. I keep saying that word, but there is a tension internally. So it's not a performance for everyone else. It's a performance for myself. So from the top, we have those 4 walks. Little hip rolls. 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and then stay on the spot and play. Shift that ribs, play with your hands. Then I want you to pretend that you have your hair up, and you're going to step to unravel it. Show everyone how beautiful it is as it falls down your back. And you're going to pull it over your shoulder to show everyone how beautiful and long it is. Imagine it. Beautiful and long it is. Then you're going to let it come up and over, so you're following it back as well. So that little rib, play, 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 play. Step onto that leg, come up, get that hair out, pull it over, play, let it nice and hang. You can almost then drop your head to pull your hair up and pull it back. Gorgeous. Shall we try that a little bit with the music? Yeah? Got a little kind of sexy Bond theme to keep it internal. Here we go. Just say you're welcome. Big breath. And we got walk. And 2. And 3. And 4. And shift. Keep that energy internal. We're going to step onto that leg, take the hair out. And let it fall. And then drop it up and over. Gorgeous. So it's slow. Lovely. So let's get more of that tension that we love so much about Sherry in there. So as we come down and up, take your time almost to be so soft. Let everything drop. And I like to think about my chest going up towards the sky. Big exhale. Feet are going to come together again. And I just want you, with the palm of your hand, to slide it up your arm. And now you can see my hands go really tense. So really tense. Bring it all up. You can turn it in And then you can do the other side, yeah? And you can have freedom with this. I don't care if it's one arm and the other arm. You could do one arm and come back on down. You can really play with that. So we've got the two arms. Then I want you to bring it down into your panel skirt. Pull it out to let it drop. So it's a tease. Going back to the tease. Pulling it out, let it drop. Then bring that energy all the way into your center to bring your hands up and go for that bite. So big bite into your arm, open all the way around. Bring that energy back softly into your face and just take a moment to finish lifting your face and have that kind of softness but intimate moment with yourself, yeah? So one more time, we have that hair comes out, pull it over your shoulder, have a little play with it, bring it down, bring it up, and open. Gorgeous, feet come together. Keep playing with your midsection as you bring in that tension. Ooh, bring in that midsection, come to your panel skirt, float it, and bring it all back up and open. Big bite and extend. Keep falling over. And then up into your face. So take that little moment and finish. Yeah? All right, let's try it with the music. Step out, take that hair out, and let it fall. Play with it, and down. Let it fall over your head, and lift it up and open. Soft. Bringing that tension to the arms. And arms. Into the panel skirt. Drop it and bring it in and up. Take that bite. Open all the way up and into the face. Keep it soft. Gorgeous. Woo! You're all going to have a little bit of self-love tonight, I promise. Well, thank you for deep diving into Sherry with me. Go and explore the worldwide internet and have a little research on her. And I hope to see a little bit of Sherryisms in your performances. All right, thank you.